Heavy afternoon rains in the Atlanta area have moved out, leaving a three-game series. The Braves looking for a sweep here on Peachtree TV. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ernie Johnson. In Game 1 of this series, it was a blowout for the Braves. In Game 2, a one-run affair. And the hero of the night was Chipper Jones, doing what Chipper always used to do, Joe, and that is deliver in the clutch.
Yeah, but something he didn't do a whole lot of last year, Ernie, and he said that he had to address that over the wintertime and get back to getting big hits when he had opportunities. And he got that opportunity last night in the 8th inning, with Martin Prado aboard representing the tying run. He had a 2-0 count early in this at bat, and he expanded his zone a little bit, something he said he might have to do a little more this year. And then he goes to 3-1. He guessed right. He wanted to change up. He got it upstairs from John Graybo, and he hit it out of the ballpark for the game winner. That is a return to more Chipper-like at-bats and really fun to watch last night.
As the Braves trying to make it 3 straight, they send another one of those fine young arms to the mound, and John Smoltz tonight we see Tommy Hanson.
We do. Everybody knows what kind of year this 23-year-old had last year, but it's hard to believe he's only making his 22nd career start. He had a really good spring training. He's coming into this campaign making his first start of the year. His 6'6" frame is going to get hitters not a real good look at their fastball. He's got a great slider, and as we see the Chicago Cubs filled with right-handers, look for him to establish his fastball and then kill him with his slider. This slider has been effective last year as a big part of his success.
And it's compared favorably to that of the man sitting to my right, John Smoltz. Last year he was 11-4 ERA under 3, number 3 in the Rookie of the Year balloting. So Tommy Hanson goes against the Chicago Cubs tonight. We'll be back with more right after this. In the finale between the Braves and the Cubs here on Peachtree TV, Ernie Johnson, John Smoltz, and Joe Simpson at your service. There was concern in the Chicago camp before the season began about the bullpen, and those fears have been proven out in the first 2 games of this series. Look at the difference here in these numbers in the first 2 games, Joe.
The Braves and the Los Angeles Angels are the only 2 teams who have not given up a run so far out of their bullpen, Ernie. And when you look at decisions already accumulated across Major League Baseball, the bullpens of the various ball clubs have accumulated 33 decisions already, either by win or loss. Bullpen's mighty important, and I think that graphic spells out how important it is and how bad it can go for a team and how good it can go for a team.
The Braves' new closer, of course, is Billy Wagner. And, John, we saw him on opening day in a non-save situation, shut him down in the ninth. With the game on the line last night, man, he was throwing.
Well, every bullpen needs an edge. They need something to fear, and he's that guy for the Braves. Your bullpen is only as good as your closer, and obviously you got to get to him. Billy Wagner rushes it up there at speeds that most people would love to have, and he's got a unique delivery, which is obviously very hard on left-handers, but right-handers don't see that slider coming out of his hand. It buckles them, and the Braves, to be successful this year, are going to not only have to get to Billy Wagner, but keep that edge, because when you're a visiting team, you start counting innings knowing Billy Wagner's about to enter the game.
Yeah, he gave up one hit last night, then struck out the side. The Braves won it 3-2. Back with the lineups and the first pitch right after this. Braves have just taken the field for Game 3 against the Chicago Cubs. The temperature 67 degrees, a little cooler than it was last night. Did have an awful lot of rain, torrential kind of stuff this afternoon. But then suddenly it cleared. The teams were able to take batting practice on the field rather than underneath, and we are ready to go in the finale of this 3-game set. Joe?
And Ernie, it's time for the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry Big Smile Seat Upgrade. And there's our man JJ. He's found some lucky fans who's now upgrading their seats. Yeah, they're delirious. Keep watching to see where their new seats are located. We'll show you later tonight. Sponsored by the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry. And now time to take a look at the batting order, brought to you by Stone Mountain Park and Evergreen Marriott Resort. For great getaway packages, visit stonemountainpark.com. For the Cubs, Ryan Theriot remains in the lineup. So does Kosuke Fukudome and Derek Lee. Those have been the top 3 in the order. Then Ramirez and Byrd. Tyler Colvin gets the start. The young rookie will be in left field. Jeff Baker at second. Coy Hill will do the catching as Baker and Hill get their first starts of the year, and Randy Wells will do the pitching. And on the mound, Mr. Smoltz is Big Tommy Hanson.
He is. What you're going to see today, it's a little unorthodox delivery, but he uses his big frame. Most guys have a little bit of an arm swing. He kind of picks it up and hides it a little bit and uses that body to deliver his pitches with force. So when he stays on plane, he comes off just a little bit, but he's got such a good breaking ball that these hitters are really going to have to hone in and decide really quick what pitch they're actually seeing. And that's what gives him so successful, makes him so successful.
The defense behind him remains the same, Ernie. Everybody that was in the lineup for games 1 and 2 back out there again.
And we are ready to go. Tommy Hanson facing Ryan Theriot, Cubs leadoff hitter, 0 for 7 on the season. And he swung right through that one. In fact, the Cubs have had trouble getting that leadoff hitter on. They're 1 for 16 leading off an inning in this series. A couple of walks in there. Hanson missed outside at 97 miles an hour.
Whoa. Feeling fresh.
Fouled back. Ball and 2 strikes.
Last year, not only to get off to a great start, but you could see first inning was not a problem for him. Coming out, establishing his fastball, coming out firing. That's always a good sign for a young pitcher.
And a confidence builder, too, John, when you begin a night like that and sit those guys down.
There's no doubt.
Theriot stays alive. He was 0 for 3 last night. Did have a sacrifice fly for one of the 2 Chicago runs. But the Braves came back with a Chipper Jones 2-run shot in the bottom of the 8th to win it 3-2. Caught the corner, strike 3 call.
Well, right on cue. He's pumping some fastballs in there and then throws that tight slider in the outside corner. There's nothing a hitter's going to do with that. You can tell him it's coming, and that's the pitch that has made him so effective and so tough, right or left-handed, and that he's using his frame perfectly to throw that pitch.
That was almost like a cutter.
It's a hard slider. It's something that you just can't teach, and not a lot of people have.
Kosuke Fukudome fouls back the first pitch. The comparisons, and we brought this up in the open, John, the comparisons, his slider to your slider, in layman's terms, are those accurate comparisons?
Yeah, but he's way ahead of the curve. I mean, it took me years to perfect the slider, to be able to throw it where I wanted to, and he's already mastered, really, that part of it. He's not one of those guys who's throwing a lot of wild pitches and throwing the dirt. He's pinpoint, and he's using, sometimes it looks like he's got a recoil when he finishes, but he's using his legs and his arms. Everything's working in accordance as it should, and he's got such great leverage and spin, and that's the one thing hitters can't pick up. So in regards to your question, he's light years ahead of. That's why he's up here. And the only thing people got to understand, 22 starts is not even a full campaign. He's going to have to experience it this year and know how to work in between the long season and the travels and everything, and he'll be fine. But what a great way to start out his big league career last year.
He's ahead 1-2.
I don't know if the radar gun stuck or not, but I don't remember any 97s from Tommy Hanson last year. 93, 94, maybe a 95, but I don't recall any of this.
First start, pumped up, first inning. Looking for a sweep of the Cubs. And a lot of expectations when you have the kind of rookie season that he had. Fukudome stays alive.
98.
See, it's not stuck.
No. Solved that.
Well, he also has a nice privilege of being the third starter. All 2 before him are right-handers. He gets to see the lineup. Nothing's really changed from a standpoint of the Braves pitchers, the way they're attacking, and he's just coming right out of the gate saying, go ahead, try and hit it.
Steve Wright, 3, called again.
And that looked like a curveball.
Here's the part that most people don't have. Most people don't have a really good hard-breaking curveball with a tight slider. What ends up happening is the 2 become 1, and it's called a slurve. And this is what, again, the polished makeup that he has already at his young age of 23. If you can keep that change of speeds and that accuracy.
Derek Lee, hitless on the young season. He's 0 for 6. Struck out a couple of times, a couple of walks in the series. And he looks at Tommy Hanson for the first time. Hanson did not face the Cubs last year.
Pitched really well here at Turner Field. Went 7-2 at home with a 3.13 ERA. Right-handers on the year last year only hit 192 against him. You're getting a good example of why here in the first inning.
There's that number again. 97. The count's 3-0.
Well, when you can control one half of the plate against a right-hander and make them totally adjust to you, that's why you're seeing that 192 batting average. You could stay on that outer third. He doesn't have to come in that much. With his velocity and his breaking ball, what people don't understand why it's so hard to hit a slider. You start a slider where your fastball ends up, they think it's a fastball, and they're going after it because it's 97 that they're trying to hit.
The count is full. That's Marvin Hudson calling the balls and strikes tonight.
3-1 slider there.
The payoff.
And Ernie, I'm going to be vulnerable here.
Thanks for the
I had no idea why they swung at my slider and why they even did it, so I just kept throwing it. And when I started to learn why, it obviously made sense. But so if that answers that, the first 2 years I just threw it.
I got you.
And it ended up in the dirt a lot.
But swung at.
Yeah.
In the dirt.
Just missed. And Derek Lee draws a walk.
He got strike one in there on the first two guys and kind of set the tone for the whole at bat. But he fell behind Derek Lee 3-0 and couldn't come all the way back to get him. Let's see what the first pitch is here to Ramirez.
Ramirez hit one of Chicago's 2 home runs on opening day. Has a couple RBIs, 3 out of 8 in the series. Hansen to the plate. One away. 1-0. So Lou Pinella's made a few changes tonight in the bottom half of that order. He is Soriano, you're not going to see tonight, or not in the starting lineup. Soto not behind the plate tonight. Fontenot not at second. 6, 7, 8. He's changed it up. This is the cleanup hitter, Ramirez. Missed again, 2-0.
Interesting thing, though, Ernie. Last night the Cubs had 7 hits. 4 of them came from Soriano, Fontenot, and Soto. So it may be just an effort on his part to get these other guys in there to start the season, get some at bats before they move on to Cincinnati.
That, and I'm going to give Mr. Hansen the respect that he deserves. So tough on right-handers.
Yeah.
It could be a big part why Soriano's not in there too, because that slider and curveball is awfully effective against right-handers.
What do you reckon Brian Mccann was talking to Tommy Hansen about right there?
I think to stay on plane. You know, he's just missing away. He's pulling off just a little bit. Just stay on plane, attack the zone, and he'll do what he did the first 2 hitters. When you see a guy missing away and he has an electric arm, the hardest thing to do is stay that second or 2 back on the rubber and let your arm catch up and just deliver that ball to the 2-3 inches that you need to have it on the outside part of the plate.
A 3-0. Just one of those rays of sun coming in right on the mound, lighting up Tommy Hansen's face, as really has turned into a nice evening here after a lot of rain this afternoon. Called strike 2, so full count again.
Got under the slider just a little bit here, but effective enough to stay in the zone. Got it on the outer half. I might come right back with it with a sharp one on the outside half as well.
Marvin Hudson calling a lot of strikes too. That's good to see.
He did come back with it. And Ramirez stayed alive.
Ramirez is one of the best bad breaking ball hitters on this club. That's why you've got to make an emphasis to get it down. The velocity on his slider is probably going to match the velocity of the opposing pitcher, maybe.
Yeah.
That's to show you how electric it can be. 88-mile-an-hour pitch breaking away from a right-hander.
Another 3-2 on the way. And he struck him out. Cubs do not put the ball in play in the top half of the first. Tommy Hanson in control in the first. 1, 2, 3 via the strikeout.
Same as it has been the first 2 games of this series. Cabrera, Prado, Chipper, McCann, Gloss, and Escobar. Jason Hayward off to a good start. Had another RBI double last night. Mclouth and Hanson round out the order.
Braves will be facing a guy last year, had a nice year, pretty consistent, 5-5 on the road, 7-5 at home. And in his brief 2 starts against the Braves, he was 1-0, only limited success. Mclouth 2 for 3, Escobar 2 for 5, and Jones 2 for 6.
He faces Melky Cabrera, who takes in one of those starts. Actually took a pitch no-hitter for 6 2/3. Grounded towards short. Terrio to lead, 1 down. And we talked about Tommy Hanson being the number 3 vote getter in Rookie of the Year. This kid was number 6.
And he deserved it. He pitched really well. His defense behind him tonight, a little different than what we've seen from the Cubs in this series. Colton in left, then Byrd and Fukudome in the outfield. Ramirez, Terrio on the left side. Baker will be at second base. Lee will be the first baseman, and Coy Hill will do the catching. Baker, former Colorado Rocky.
Now here's Martin Prado. 4 out of 8 through the first 2 games. And how big was that double last night with the Braves down 2-1? That ignited the rally that got the Braves their second win.
Well, you pointed out, and you saw him at second base when he got there, looking in the dugout, the Braves dugout, and cheering on his teammates to get going.
And when Chipper crossed the plate, the first guy he pointed at was Prado. He made it happen. He made it possible. Right up the middle, base hit.
Unlike Hanson, John, this guy Wells is not going to rack up a ton of strikeouts. Last year, 105 and 170 innings. Sinker slider pitcher. Had better results against right-handed hitters because of that good sinking action.
Yeah.
Excuse me, against lefties.
The Braves are going to have to be a little bit more patient trying to get the ball up in the zone. Certainly Wells loves that grass in Wrigley Field with his sinker to be able to kill it. But you're going to see a whole 2 different pitching matchups. 27 starts by this kid, 22. But Fastball's not even in the same area, and of course a different approach for Wells to try and get hitters out.
Chipper takes outside, 1-0.
To your point, Joe, right-handed batters, 221. Left-handers had a little bit more success.
Missed out there again, 2-0. Prado on at first with a first inning single, and Chipper at the plate now with one down. Game 3 of a 3-game set between the Braves and the Cubs here at Turner Field. Thanks for joining us here on Peachtree TV. Grounded towards second. Baker gets the force, and that's all they'll get.
Mentioned that he's not going to get a whole lot of strikeouts, but likewise, his control's pretty good. He made 2 starts against the Braves last year, won one of them, but did not walk a batter in 13 innings combined in those 2 starts.
Here is Brian Mccann. 2 out of 5. He's walked 4 times in 2 games. Walked a couple of times last night, one of those intentionally.
Former closer had a nice pair of glasses, Mr. Gray. Goggles.
The 1-2, and he strikes out the Braves cleanup hitter. So the battle of young right-handers continues. We're scoreless through 1. And this game, Braves baseball on Peachtree TV in HD, brought to you by the Georgia Aquarium. Visit the Georgia Aquarium where imaginations go to play. Go to georgiaaquarium.org to learn more. If you have not been there, you owe it to yourself. Fascinating place in downtown Atlanta.
I don't think you can go enough. I really don't.
Tough to see in one trip.
Always something different that you missed before or you just didn't think to look at. That's always fascinating. It's wonderful.
I saw some pretty cool there, Ernie.
Uh-oh.
I did.
What might that be, John?
Well, in one of them big ballrooms at an event, one of them tiger sharks took a bite out of a stingray. They normally don't do that. I know you're looking for a joke, but
as Al Galima said, fish left. Had to be with us last night to appreciate that one, as that pitch is fouled off to the right. Here is the.
They're supposed to be well fed, so this was just one of those fluke things where that big tiger shark smoked the stingray.
So visit the Georgia Aquarium. You never know when you might see the unanticipated. They may have just put that show on for you because you were there, John. 2-2.
Might not even have been a real stingray.
Could have been a piece of Spam with a long tail. I know one thing. Nobody's getting around on that fastball yet. There have been some tardy swings.
Marlon Byrd out of Sprayberry High School. He was a Yellow Jacket in high school and a Yellow Jacket at Georgia Tech. Spent the last few seasons with the Texas Rangers and homered in his first at bat as a Chicago Cub. A flare out there, short right. Jason Hayward makes the play. And now here's Tyler Colton. Heard a few cheers there. He's a Clemson University product. Had such a great spring training. Lou Piniella, all he could do was keep him on this team.
I asked their general manager, Jim Henry, about Colvin before yesterday's game and asked him, what do you like about him? And he said he does everything well. He runs well. He can play all three outfield positions. He's got some power. Hits for average. He didn't go on to say he does anything great. He just does everything well and had such a good spring. I think it's great that Lou Piniella kept him because he earned it in spring training.
Misses with the 1-1.
That's the pitch right there. The backdoor slider to a left-hander that he's leaps and bounds about. I mean, that's just a pitch that takes longer to learn because you're going away. You're throwing in an empty batter's box. You don't want to bring it over into the zone where the left-hander likes it down and in. And he already looks like that part of the plate he's got good control on.
Boy, that ball was rocketed to right field. Don't even move, Jason Hayward. That's gone. So you said he had a little pop in that bat, huh, Joe?
That was a rocket. His first major league home run. And right here in what is really his home state from over in Augusta.
It's the zone you want to stay away from. Obviously, he missed his spot by about 6 to 8 inches.
That's a home run that fans wait till it stops bouncing after about 4 or 5 ricochets. Then somebody picks it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tommy only gave up 10 homers last year.
Here's Jeff Baker making his 2010 debut and takes a strike, 1-1. The Cubs dugout wanted that baseball for Tyler Colton, first home run. But the ball was thrown back onto the field, then thrown back into the stand. So she's got the ball and he wants it. See if we can't facilitate something here.
Well, I'm sure Kasuke Fukudomi can go out there and swing a deal, take him a bat or swap a ball.
Send him to the aquarium.
The 1-2 misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's what Lou Piniella had said about Tyler Colton yesterday. I've got to play him. He just can't sit. If we're not going to play him, he'd be down in the minor leagues playing every day. We'll get him some playing time here and see how he does. And he homers in his first at bat of this game as Baker flies to center.
And with 2 out, fans, it's time for the know-how question of the game built by the Home Depot. If you have a question for us tonight, send us an email. And if chosen, we'll answer it later in the game. Send that email to braves@peachtreetv.com. Please tell us your name. And remember, more saving, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
Here's the switch hitting Coy Hill doing the catching tonight. And he looks at a 94 mile an hour strike, 0-1. Looked like 95 to me. I think the gun was wrong.
Eagle Eye Ernie.
And Hansen jumps ahead 0-2. You're just joining us. Chicago on the board here in the top of the second. A solo home run by Tyler Colton. Tommy Hansen delivers the 0-2. Tried to go backdoor again there. Part of that story, John, would be he's watched guys as he's come up, and that became more of a pitch in vogue. You agree? And more kids were working on that?
Definitely. I think it's a product of what's been the last 2 to 5 years.
1 run in this game, and it comes courtesy of Tyler Colton on a line into the seats in right. The hunt for the ball continues.
broadcast is presented by authority of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Troy Gloss leads it off in the bottom half of the second inning. He needs something good to happen. Been a struggle so far. 1 out of 7 with 6 strikeouts. Randy Wells works quickly. The 1-1.
Last season, you see 2.18 ERA in innings after his team had scored. Surprisingly, 6th best in the majors. I don't know how to take that statistic. That's new to me. 6th best.
Base hits are right. He needed that.
Took a little off his swing there, too. Behind 0-2. Little inside out stroke on that pitch that was away from him, appeared to be away from him. I think sometimes a big guy who's been known to be a home run hitter and used to hitting home runs, if you go through a stretch like he went through last night, striking out 4 times, you feel like you got to hit one a mile to make up for all of that, instead of just seeing the ball and hitting it.
Yunel Escobar takes low, ball 1. They'll gloss at first with nobody out. Randy Wells works with a 1-0 lead. See if he can come up with a shutdown inning to keep that lead. That one at 90. He's not going to get much higher than that, is he?
No, I'm with Joe. The gun might be just a little bit high. Just a couple miles off. You could fight this one in court with viewer speed.
Fly ball right. Fukudome. 1 down.
The people that don't even understand how it works, they got 2 different types of guns. One that measures the ball when it leaves your hand, and then one that actually gives you a more accurate reading of the ball that is crossing home plate. And most parks, since the evolution of pitch counts and guns, will always have the juiced one.
So you think we're using the juiced gun?
I think so. I think so.
Here is Jason Hayward.
There's some thoughts that home teams use 2 guns, one for their team that might be the juice gun, and another gun for the opposing team. So when they look up there and see they're only throwing 81, maybe it makes them feel bad.
Look, I'm telling you right now, I know enough pitchers in the game that if I could control the gun and mess with their mind as a visiting player, I'd do it, because you shouldn't be looking at it anyways.
Right.
You see the guys turn around, almost break their neck trying to see what that pitch was. The hitter's going to tell you what it is. So I'd be messing with it all over the place.
That last one clocked at 91. The 1-1 to Hayward.
And the other thing about the gun, it will register faster down than it will up.
I've never figured that one out.
I haven't either. Must be just the way it's coming in with the angle of.
Has a lot to do with aperture.
That too.
Does it ever? Well said. 2-1 to the Atlanta rookie. 2 balls and 2 strikes. All I know is that those guns have come light years from when they first came out and the police were using them in Florida, and they were clocking trees going like 63
right.
and losing a lot of lawsuits. Hayward waits on a 2-2. Grounded foul up toward first.
Seen a lot of people wearing the Jason Hayward jersey, the 22 on their back. Interesting story, I thought, on Monday, opening day. The Braves clubhouse store out in center field sold 500 shirts with Jason Hayward's name and number on it, but it was after the 5th inning, because according to the Players Association, a player's uniform and jersey apparel in this case cannot be sold until he's had an official game in the big leagues.
How about that?
And it's not an official game until the 5th inning.
That is amazing.
And then they broke open the boxes.
I must have got an illegal one because I got one on my way in.
I think yours is 23. Yeah, it's not official.
Yeah, and it's spelled with a W-U-R-D.
Or Haywood. There you go. He waits on a 3-2 with a runner at first. And he's still alive. That's the real deal. Right there.
Mine didn't look like that. No wonder.
I'm sure you got a good deal, though.
I did.
Well, Lou Piniella says they asked him if he has been impressed by what he's seen of Jason Hayward. He said, "I was impressed enough the first day. I don't want to be impressed anymore." Tapped up toward first again.
We talked about this the opening game of this series about how if you're Derek Lee, you really don't want to be standing 90 feet away from Jason Hayward as hard as he hits the ball and the way he swings down on the ball. But when you're holding a runner on, I'm really surprised they're holding Troy Gloss on here. He's not a threat to go even on a 3-2 count.
I'm not really wanting to beat Glenn Hubbard right now either.
No.
I'll be the Braves' first base coach. Grounded towards second. Will not be two. And boy, if Baker had been able to apply a tag to Troy Gloss there, that might have been a double play. But Gloss passed him by, and they got the force.
I think we've got a good idea in that at bat, though, guys, about Randy Wells' sinker, because Jason pounded about 5 balls in the ground, 4 foul, and then that one that went to the second baseman. The ball really must be sinking.
Now here's Nate Mclouth, number 8 hitter in the Braves lineup. One out of 5 in the series. Reached when he was hit by a pitch last night. Over for a strike, 0-1. Nate Mclouth has been an all-star. Had a rough spring. New contact lenses. Trying to get it going here in this first week of the season.
It's a good trade. If you're going to have to give up an out, it's a good trade having Hayward take over for Gloss at first base. Much better speed and a threat to steal one.
Randy Wells at the belt. Comes to the plate, and Mclouth swings and misses. Rounded up the middle. Will it get through? Yes, it will. And Hayward will dig for third. Runners on the corners with 2 down.
That was a thing of beauty. Pitcher just missed gloving it, and then it just gets right in between the middle infielders.
And if you're Wells, you're doubly mad, because then instead of having the next inning start off with the pitcher comes up, and then you reset the order in the National League. That's kind of pretty big, because Typically, most pitchers are an automatic out. Your leadoff batter would be batting with one out.
Let's see how Tommy handles it back. Is your theory hold? We heard your theory last night, which really there wasn't really a formula to it. You just said this guy ought to be hitting this. What should Tommy Hanson hit? His 2 for 37.
Believe it or not, it's a pretty good start. But
2 for 37 is a pretty good start.
Well, for most guys, I mean.
So he's got nowhere to go but up.
Nowhere to go but up.
Very reassuring.
So if he goes 4 for, what was that, 37? So if he goes 4 for 74 this year, that's good. That's an improvement. Or
you just keep climbing the hit totals. You know, you want to get 100 in your career. It's 3,000 for a, regular player.
Yeah,
it's 100.
You were a Silver Slugger once for pitchers in 1997.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
I sure did. I got robbed of a couple others, but I got that one.
Yeah.
I was lucky to get that one. I finished 0 for 18 my last 18 at bat.
Up there looking for walks late, weren't you?
Oh my gosh. You know what? You just want to, kind of like they say, show up at a golf course and be dressed looking like you can golf, and, maybe you can golf. You just want to create a little fear in the opposing pitcher's mind, so it's not just so quickly an easy out. Make them throw some pitches. Make them work.
151 hits for Mr. Smoltz, Ernie, in case you were wondering.
Yeah. Look at this. On a line to right, but Fukudome had him played perfectly for the final out. Braves get him to the corners, but can't advance him. Cubs lead it 1-0.
We go to the third inning, and here are those recipients of the Big Smile Seat Upgrade, sponsored by Dr. Deborah Gray King and the Atlanta Center for Cosmetic Dentistry. The place in Atlanta to get a beautiful smile. Great seats right there down the first base line.
What a nice surprise to get to the ballpark, and there you are, right there next to these guys. Now, I'm thinking Randy Wells is going to swing the bat pretty well. Used to be a catcher. All right, used to be a position player. I'm thinking he can swing the bat all right. And 191 with a couple of ribbies is not bad.
So he's got a career 382 batting average.
Oh, so that's what the theory. You just double it and say that's actually the kind of.
Yeah, because if he had 500 at bats, you're only getting.
I think a guy wiser than me could probably shoot some holes in that theory. Maybe like Joe.
Wow, if it was just that easy.
It's time and a half. It's not double.
Yeah.
I exaggerated a little bit. So it's 250.
See, I think the more you're exposed, it's half that. The more at bats,
Maybe.
the more it goes down.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. At least I got a maybe.
But my other theory, Ernie.
Yes.
And it's probably more of a logical one. You pitch 35 starts.
Right.
If you get a hit your first 5 starts, you've got a 25-game hitting streak. It's really not 5. You got to extend it by 5. It's every 5 days you pitch. So it's a 25-game hitting streak.
And we're back. Here's Ryan Theriot. All of that being said, Randy Wells drew a walk from Tommy Hanson, which is actually 2 walks. But he gets the first one over to Theriot, who was called out on strikes in the first. Theriot now 0 for 8. Batting from the leadoff spot for the Cubs.
Keeps missing to that same spot again, John.
It's timing. And with his big frame, we gave you the positives. Some of the negatives sometimes is that whole coordination thing just working absolutely right.
Look out over there in the seats over the Braves dugout. So Hanson ahead in the count, 1-2. Playing the top half of the 3rd inning. Leadoff walk to Randy Wells. And Theriot waiting on a 1-2. Tried to check it. And he strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. Time now to take a look at the SunTrust Solid Performance, brought to you by SunTrust. Live solid, bank solid. And it is Tommy Hanson, the rookie leaders in ERA in 2009 at 2.89 ahead of Jay Happ, Randy Wells. So the 2 pitchers you see tonight, 1 and 3 on that list. Of course, Jay Happ, pivotal role with the Philadelphia Phillies en route to the World Series last year. Here's Fukudome.
And Kenshin Kawakami in the top 5 there. A guy who had a horrible April last year but had a very good ERA the rest of the year. He'll pitch Sunday in San Francisco. Excuse me, Saturday.
Toward left. Melky Cabrera makes the play.
You mentioned him pitching Saturday. And they've got an interesting road trip coming up where tomorrow they'll have to make a quick turnaround. Huddy's already out there getting rest, getting ready to pitch because they'll get in late. It's that 2nd day of that trip that's always the little drag. Kind of you get out to the West Coast, you play a little bit on adrenaline, you got 4 hours sleep. That 2nd day always becomes that hard day to get adjusted. So he'll be dealing with that.
Well, originally Derek Lowe, we were told, would pitch Saturday on regular rest since he started Monday. But according to the Braves notes tonight, Lowe will not pitch until Sunday. That might have something to do with it.
Derek Lee waiting on a 1-0. Pop foul, ball and a strike. So, John, for some of the young guys on here, it's a little eye-opener here for you. So this is the way big league life is going to be. This is your first trip. You're going to get in early. Got a day game tomorrow in San Francisco.
1:30 local time in San Francisco.
It's a challenge. I mean, you leave spring training. You're there 20 to 30 days. You don't have to get any flights. You get maybe some long bus trips. You get to your home opener. It's not a real long homestand. And then, boom, right off to the road. And, you know, the year is a long year. That's why it's the adjustment period that these guys have to constantly find their ways and get comfortable, because Tommy had, what, two-thirds of the year last year, and some of these guys came up in the same time frame. Jason Hayward's going to have his first campaign. He's going to find out what it's like to roll out of bed, not know where you're at some cities, not know what hotel room you are after the game because you can't remember there's a lot of things that go into a season that I think people just take for granted. They do travel great, but man, you get in those Atlanta time, 5 in the morning, roll out of bed and go get them.
Add to that, too, for a kid like Jason Hayward, the amount of national publicity he's gotten through spring training and now into the regular season. He'll find that he goes on the road and all of a sudden there are a few people who want to stick a mic in your face or a notepad.
With that in mind, I go back to when Ken Griffey Jr. broke in with the Mariners. Jim Lefebvre was his manager. And along with the PR department of the Mariners, they were very, very strict and guarded with that 19-year-old and the press requests that took place when he would travel around the American League. I thought they handled that great.
Well, I hope they don't put the guards on him when he comes to San Diego. I hope Mr. Bear interviews him like they interviewed me.
Fly ball deep right. Hayward goes back and makes the play.
I have to tell you about that after this inning. It's a tease. Just threw you a tease.
I cannot wait. You're the best.
You're getting the hang of this.
Man, only your second night. You're uncanny. Airways home run inning where Laney from Powder Springs, Georgia, will have the chance to win free airfare for 2 if the Braves hit a home run during the 3rd inning. Visit PeachTreeTV.com/contests for official rules and to enter for a chance to win. Airtran Airways, go. There's nothing stopping you. Top of the order, bottom of the 3rd. Melky Cabrera facing Randy Wells. The Cubs with a 1-0 lead. Cabrera grounded out to short his first time. Two balls and a strike. Okay, so when you get to San Diego, you get interviewed, John, by Mr. Bear, huh?
Yeah. What happens is just not too long ago won my first start, Shea Stadium, much to your point, but everyone's got the mic. There's requests, PR leaves stuff on your chair with the guy and number, and so they left the interviewer, Mr. Police, called Mr. Bear and gave the number, and I picked it up, and as eager beaver as I could, I ran over to the phone right there in the clubhouse.
Ooh, look out. Right into the corner of the Cubs dugout. And Mike Quaddy, the third base coach, happened to be alive.
And so as I go over to the phones, I didn't even notice everyone was gathering around to see me talk to Mr. Bear, and I dialed it up, and I got a couple, you know, you've reached the executive offices, and then the San Diego Zoo comes on. I politely put the phone back down as everyone was laughing.
Crowded towards second. Baker to Lee, one down. The date didn't happen to be April 1st when that happened or anything, or was this just typical stuff?
Typical.
Joe is speechless.
Well, I'm having a hard time with this Bear common thread of bears here that we've got.
That John finds very amusing.
Yes.
Bear left, Mr. Bear.
Bear hunting. Now we've got Mr. Bear. Must have been a childhood thing.
Thank goodness you mixed in a little aquarium humor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Joe,
tiger shark thing. That was good.
When I got here, Joe gave me a bear hug. So I mean, what? You know,
you're too good. Tiger shark. What tiger shoot today, by the way?
I think 4 under.
I think last I heard.
Great first day at Augusta National, by the way. Tom Watson again. That's you know, I was at the British Open last year when he amazed everybody. Stewart Sink won that in the playoff, but to come to Augusta National, first major of this year at the age of 60, put up that kind of number.
Freddie Couple, 66 today.
I think he did it with no spikes. He had nothing on the bottom of those shoes.
Who can shoot 66 at Augusta wearing deck shoes?
Freddie answered that question today. 3 balls and a strike to Martin Prado. He bats with 1 down here in the bottom of the 3rd. Wells juicing it up to 92 there. And the count's full.
One of the things coming into this year, and they had high hopes, you know, Chicago did, and they made some moves in the offseason. But I don't think people understand when you move up a slot in the rotation, what that does to your rotation. Ted Lilly's been hurt. Looks like he's going to come back a little bit earlier. But to put him in the 3 hole versus the 4 hole, it changes your rotation. It puts a lot of stress on a young guy.
Martin Prado is on fire. In with a double. He's 2 for 2.
It's already 6 hits for Martin in these 3 games. But here's the difference in the Martin now versus when he first came up. Look at the location of this pitch. Running in on him, and he fights it off. He pulls his hands inside the baseball, gets the barrel to the ball. That was a broken bat flare at best a couple of years ago for Martin Prado. He's stronger. He's got a better swing working, and the results are really coming quickly for him.
That's 4 hits in his last 5 at bats. A single and a double tonight. He's out there at second, representing the tying run here in the bottom of the 3rd as Chipper fouls the first one away. It was Prado who doubled in the 8th inning last night and scored ahead of Jones on the game-winning home run. No balls and a strike. Here it comes.
Last year it seemed like the Braves didn't have a rally unless it started with 2 out. They scored a lot of 2-out runs. So far this year, that has not been the case. They've been able to get something going early in an inning, as you see.
And when they've had runners in scoring position, they've gotten the job done. 10 out of 25. Do the math. That's 400. See Brian Mccann on deck.
Like he got away with one there. Wells, I'm talking about. But there's just, if you folks at home are watching Chipper compared to last year, there's just a definite, more aggressive, hard swing going on right now in these first 3 games than we saw last year.
2-2. Next out of the way. We're full 3-2.
And you know what? He really swings a heavy bat. And when things aren't right, and you got certain injuries that can affect the ability to get that heavy. To my knowledge, I don't think he ever switches bats, regardless if a wrist jam or a fingers jam. And he's, you know, that's why the ball off his bat does what it does, because he's got a lot of the barrel of the bat, which is the meat part of the bat, centered with weight. Most guys can't swing that bat.
It's one of the heaviest bats in the National League for sure. At least 34 ounces. And as the story goes, it was Willie Stargell who urged him in the minor leagues to swing a heavy bat and don't put it down. Get used to it, learn how to use it. And Chipper was very appreciative that the late great Willie Stargell did that.
Chipper waits on a 3-2. Runners at first and second with 1 out. Pops would talk hitting. He would love to sit and just talk hitting. And to Chipper's credit, you get advice like that and you put it to use.
Absolutely. That's the first walk of a Braves hitter by Wells in 16 innings he's pitched against him.
Yeah, Brian Mccann with a chance to do some damage. He struck out in the first. Homered on opening day, deep into the seats in right field. It's his 1 RBI on the young season. Wind picks up a little bit here at Turner Field.
Guys, let's take a look at tonight's leaderboard, brought to you by the Sunshine House, a tradition of excellence in early education. We talked a couple of nights ago about Yunel Escobar and how great he is with runners in scoring position. Well, Brian Mccann was third in the National League last year in this situation at 336.
Right back to the mound. Goes to second. All hands safe.
This is a play right here. If he had time to think about it, you forget who's running. And he had more time than he needed to make a good throw. He didn't have to hurry it. He's got the catcher running. Unfortunately, for no matter how many times you go to spring training and work on this play, when it happens live, you really feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And he just rushed it. And a big inning could occur because of a simple play that he really didn't realize who was running.
Really got in a hurry, smelled that double play to get out of the inning. And last year, the Cubs had similar problems. They worked very hard in spring training on their defense, especially with their pitchers. The pitchers committed 22 errors last year, and that led the majors.
And by the way, every pitcher has done it. It doesn't escape a pitcher. Things are moving. Everything's happening fast.
Troy Gloss looks at a strike. Singled his first time. It's 2 for 8 on the young season.
Greg Maddux would actually go the other way and wait so long to make the throw to get the out. And, you know, we'd always throw it. But he would always get the out. And that was more important than trying to be perfect and throwing 2.
Great spot for the first RBI of the season for the Braves' new first baseman, Troy Gloss.
Had a good at bat his first time up, behind in the count. Hit a line drive to right field. Stay with that approach. Hit it hard somewhere. Even a fly ball ties the game.
To third. Steps on the bag and throws across for 2. This has been the Airtran Airways home run inning of the game. Be sure to register at PeachTreeTV.com/contest for official rules and for your chance to win. And watch the next game on Peachtree TV. It's still 1-0.
Dealer today, Toyota moving forward. What's the longest consecutive innings pitch streak as an Atlanta Brave without giving up a home run? I have the answer for you in the bottom half of the inning.
Aramis Ramirez swings and misses at the first pitch. He started that inning-ending double play with the force at third and the throw across, as the Braves had him loaded but did not score. Omar Infante is the new Braves third baseman for Chipper Jones. And we'll await official word on Chipper's situation. The guys in the truck, Glenn Diamond and company, saying Chipper's last at bat, you see the swing and a bit of a grimace.
He also, after that swing, remember there was another pitch down and in he had to dance out of the way of. That took him a long time to walk around behind the catcher to get back in the box. And even that sudden move to get out of the way of that pitch may have aggravated it a little bit too.
So we won't speculate on what it is. We'll wait for the Braves to tell us. But Omar Infante is the new Braves third baseman as Ramirez goes down swinging for the second time tonight.
We talked in the other half inning about the number that you're in your rotation. You look at this Braves staff with Tim Hudson being in the 4-hole, matching up for the most part. It just gives this Braves team a great chance to win when your two young pitchers, 2 and 3, have learned the ropes as fast as they have, and they have the stuff they have. If you can even think forward and get them in position for a playoff run, this power is starting to come back into the rotation where it can mix and match and strike some people out, which at times wasn't there and is an important part for the playoffs, an important part for success.
Fly ball, deep left. Cabrera back later. Marlon Byrd has his second home run of the series. And he gets around those bases quickly. No home run trot for Marlon Byrd.
You mentioned he's out of Sprayberry High School, Ernie. If he had hit that one at Sprayberry High School's ballpark, it'd be up on Sandy Plains Road. That thing was launched.
That's what they call the downside of a really tight slider is the cement mixer. The one that really basically goes the other way, and you know that's going to happen. You don't mind a solo home run. You don't mind that. You obviously want to limit them, but that's going to happen when you've got that kind of pitch. You're not going to execute it perfect every single time.
Well, here's Tyler Colton, who homered his first time. His was more a line shot. Byrd hit a high, majestic shot into the left field seats. But both were no doubters. And Colton got a hold of this one, too, but didn't get all of it. 2 down.
He's talking about Jason Hayward's ability to get his front foot down quickly. Watch this swing by Marlon Byrd. It's really no stride, but he puts his foot down immediately, and there's nothing left there then except hands and hips, and he's very strong in his lower half. Quick bat, and that was similar to the home run, the swing anyway, the home run on opening day, where he had virtually no stride at all against Derek Lowe.
Here's Jeff Baker. Like Colvin, he's a Clemson product, and on the off day after opening day, they drove up to Athens, watched their Clemson Tigers beat the Georgia Bulldogs in college baseball. Which no doubt thrilled Ashley Diamond, our stage manager.
Little calming trip to the mound here, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, same thing. He's missing off the plate just a little bit. Get him back. You know, the biggest thing you can do visually with your eyes, besides slowing things down when you walk around the mound and re-clearing your brain, is you've got to see a part of Mccann that you want to throw it through and not get so quick to throwing it through, because that quickness is going to get you 2 to 3 inches away from the target, and you're going to end up pulling the ball. So he's just going to get him to drive right through Mccann, stay right on plane, and you give yourself a chance for success to recover. In this game and this year, it's going to be about the self-adjustments that he makes, and it saves the trip of Roger McDowell, and it keeps him in the game a lot longer. It's that self-adjustments that you have to learn.
Tom Glavine talked about that the other night, John, about how you got to learn to coach yourself a little bit.
That's exactly right. You know, bullpens are not just to exercise your arm. Bullpens are to know what your mechanics are, know your flaws, and your in-game adjustments have to be made in the bullpen. So then it becomes natural. You know what your tips are. You know what you look for. Wow.
So we fell behind 2-0, then struck out Jeff Baker to end the 4th. But the Cubs had a run on the Marlon Byrd shot. 2-0.
2-0 Cubs as we go to the 4th inning. Here's tonight's Toyota trivia question. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota moving forward. Pitcher with the longest consecutive innings pitch streak, not giving up a home run.
6-3. Back to you.
Who do you think it is, John?
I'm going to say it was a teammate of mine. I'm going to say it was a left-hander with a nasty sinker. Zane Smith.
Well done.
Did I get that right?
It's only on 3 different monitors up here, but well done.
I was looking up. You saw where my eyes were.
Uh-huh.
They were on your scorebook, which you have remarkable. Well, you're doing all right tonight.
Yeah, I messed up one spot.
Here's Jason Hayward. Reached on a fielder's choice in the second. Fly ball the other way. Just foul.
There's one road trip I'd like to make to see him take BP. Colorado.
It's going to be fun.
Oh my.
I would think San Francisco would be kind of fun too, just to see how many he puts in McCovey Cove. And you're going to be there.
You know what, Ernie? As easy as Barry Bonds made that look,
yeah,
that's a poke.
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to hit a ball to get it over that wall, over the concourse up there, and hit it in the water.
So keep count for me,
okay,
on this trip, and just
I will
text me or something.
I will.
Talking to Ryan Klesko, who played there for some short change, said it was one of the hardest ballparks he's ever seen to get a ball out of it. And Barry did it with ease.
Shattered that bat. And 2 down.
Wells doing a good job. Making some good pitches and got exactly what he needed last inning. Bases loaded, 1 out after he had made a mistake himself to put himself in that jam. Good play by Ramirez to turn the double play and get him out of it.
Popular as Hayward is these days, you could probably just take the broken handle of that bat and stick it on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm definitely trying that jersey.
On that base, Nate.
Nate Mclouth takes upstairs 1-0.
Might be the only one.
Yeah. I think you have the only Haywood number 22 jersey in town.
Along those lines, I was actually at a charity golf tournament once, and they had a silent auction where they were auctioning off a glove that was used by Rad Carew. It said R-A-D. Said, how much did you pay for that bad boy? Don't let him get out of town.
Yeah.
2 balls and a strike. To second. Randy Wells is rolling at Turner Field. We're through 4, and the Cubs lead it 2-0. every weeknight starting at 5 for your favorite comedies. You got The Office, you got Friends, Seinfeld, Family Guy, House of Pain. It's a party, or John, correct me, it's a partay on Peachtree. We're in the top of the 5th. Tommy Hanson has struck out 7 Cubs, but 2 have taken him deep. It's a 2-0 game.
The only 2 hits they have.
Tyler Colton and Marlon Byrd with solo homers. This is Coy Hill. Base hit left center to start the 5th.
We talked about Wells' batting average and the fact that he was an ex-catcher. He was pretty good at putting some bunts down when he needed to last year. He had 12 sacrifice bunts.
It really is a lost art. There's no excuse for a pitcher to not get a bunt down. It's a lot of pride and work, and it's just no excuse.
And he'll try once again right here. Mission accomplished. 1 down. Runner moves to second. So he's had a walk, a sacrifice bunt in his 2 plate appearances, and a runner in scoring position for the top of the order now. Ryan Theriot has struggled tonight against Tommy Hanson. First time he's seen him. Called out on strikes, got him swinging in the 3rd. We're playing in the 5th. Fukudome on deck. The old LSU Tiger, Ryan Theriot.
Or as they should call him in Chicago, Ryan the Riot.
I like that. Subtle, but I like it.
Thank you.
Bounced toward first. Hanson with the flip, 2 down. Runner moves to 3rd. So here's Fukudome. Called out on strikes in the 1st. Line to left in the 3rd. Another Chicago run just 90 feet away, but 2 down.
That needs to change. That's one of those things that they were talking about with Fukudome needing to have a good year this year for Chicago after 2 disappointing ones.
To left. And Cabrera is there. So the Cubs get a runner to 3rd, but cannot bring him home. It's 2-0. fifth. Guys, I'm telling you, that Home Depot tool race they have here is getting more and more violent by the game. I mean, there's 2 and 3 guys biting the dust on that thing now.
I know they're tools, but tonight we had clotheslining.
Yes, it was I think the paintbrush was clotheslined by the drill, and it was the saw, I believe, that won the race. It's very disturbing.
Technically speaking, is a paintbrush a tool?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. When I see those things, I just get nightmares. I've had those things in my hand, and
Tommy Hansen leading it off in the bottom of the fifth. There it is. This is the drill, and that was the saw. And then look at the hammer and the paintbrush double teaming it. Shallow center. Marlon Byrd, 1 down.
And with 1 out, let's take a look at the Braves' upcoming schedule, brought to you by AirTran Airways. Go, there's nothing stopping you. Tomorrow afternoon, as John said, a quick turnaround. 4:35 first pitch from San Francisco on Fox Sports South. Alternating games there in San Francisco with Sports South and Fox Sports South, and all 3 games in San Diego on Sports South. Back with you a week from tomorrow night, right here on Peachtree, as the Rockies come to town. That'll be a tough homestand, Colorado and Philadelphia.
Tough start to the road trip, too, in San Francisco. The Giants sweeping the Astros on the road to start the season.
Scored a bunch of runs, too. Hey, Kelly Johnson hit 2 homers last night. Good for him.
On the corner for a strike to Melky Cabrera. Only 1 strikeout for Randy Wells in this game, when he's pitching a shutout here in the 5th.
Doesn't seem that long ago, but back in the day before realignment happened, we had to go to that West Coast trip an awful lot of times. We play each team 18 times when we were in the West. Now it's get it out of the way and don't have to make it as many times.
I don't ever remember going to San Diego, John, without playing the Dodgers, or vice versa.
Yeah, but we never took care. It seemed like we never took care of all 3. It was always 2 at a time. But you got that. Go ahead. Sorry about that. You got that bus trip.
Yeah.
That seems like a nice little 1.5 hour turned into 4-hour trip. Probably could have jumped in a plane and beat the fun traffic.
So Cabrera draws a 1-out walk, and here is the red-hot Martin Prado. The word we're getting from the Braves on Chipper is a sore right side. And of course, we're familiar with the problems he's had with the oblique in the past.
Well, let's assume it was on that slide. I mean, on that swing, because I didn't see anything running the bases that would have indicated that it was something other than this swing. Foul ball. And a little bit of anguish on his face thereafter.
Martin Prado is 6 out of 10 on the season now. Single and a double tonight. Towards second. Could be 2. 1 and 2. End of inning for the Braves. Randy Wells has them shut out through 5 here at Turner Field. As we move to the top of the 6th inning here at Turner Field. And the Cubbies' number 3 hitter, Derek Lee, still in search of his first base hit of the season. He's 0 for 7. He does have a walk tonight. Hansen delivers.
He drove in 111 runs last year, but he didn't do it just against the guys that are at the bottom of the league in various pitching categories. Against the top 10 pitchers in wins, a 300 average, top 10 in ERA. Likewise, he hits everybody. What's wrong with that last pitch, John?
It was awfully nice.
Hansen ahead 1-2.
Foul tip rocked Mccann a little bit. His 89th pitch for Tommy Hansen, and it was 95 on the radar gun.
.55 strikes, 34 balls. And he's ahead of Lee 1-2. Base hit right. First hit of the season for Derek Lee. And he does it on a 1-2 pitch. He's kind of reached out and poked that into right field.
A little bit like what Troy Gloss did his first at bat after falling behind in the count.
This is what makes him so tough. It looks so inviting out there. He steps away from the plate. He's got an open stance, closes up, and he's so strong that he can shoot you the other way. And then, of course, if you make a mistake over the middle of the plate, hit it out of the park.
Here's the cleanup hitter, Aramis Ramirez, 1-0. Tommy's had his number tonight, struck him out both times.
We talked about this a little bit last night, Ernie, about how this club was 5th in the league in homers last year. As the Braves bullpen gets busy, but they were 10th in on-base percentage and 10th in runs scored, meaning, again, if they didn't hit home runs, they didn't win very often. And sure enough, tonight they're up 2-0 on 2 solo homers.
They had one player with over 65 RBIs last year. That's the guy who stands at first base right now, Derek Lee, who had 111. And the last time that had happened for the Cubs, and only one guy over 65, was 1960.
I'd like to see him throw that pitch a little more.
Well, when you can do that 2-0 to a great hitter, I mean, that's what we've talked about. The emergence of just his command and what's made him the pitcher he is so fast. That's going to be a pitch he can go to and get out of trouble. And I think he'll learn the difference between when to throw the curveball, because his slider's so good. Some would say, well, you stick with that curveball. You need to change the speed. You need to change the eye level. A fastball can do that up, but that plane now starts getting a hitter from just looking in one area. And that's, again, when you've got those two pitches and you can throw those pitches for strikes, it's awfully tough for the hitter.
3-1. Runners at first and second with nobody out. And a dangerous hitter stepping to the plate, Marlon Byrd. His last trip to the plate in the 4th. That sounded far, didn't it?
John's called it the hanging slider that was there for the taking. He didn't miss it.
And So now he bats with 2 runners on and nobody out here in the top of the 6th. And what this goes back to, we talked about their lack of run production and runs batted in. And they're 0 for their last 13 with men on in this series. 2 on here for Byrd, who has homered twice this week. Lined, just foul.
Boy, is that a quick swing. That didn't used to be the swing of Marlon Byrd.
No, sir. He made some great improvements like we talked about yesterday. You could see a pitch that really for most guys is in enough to not do anything with, and he almost hit a double down the line.
And again, he got that front foot down to let the rest allow the rest of his body, especially his hands, to work.
You know, with Tommy, the front shoulder acts like a sight for a gun, meaning if it comes out a little too quick, everything else is going to fly out and just kind of the ball just kind of sails away. He's got to keep the front shoulder quiet. I know he's getting up there in pitches, a little bit tired. He's trying to be active with his upper body. He's got to trust his lower body and his frame to get the ball back on plane. And with a slider, that pitch right there, you're naturally going to be more quiet because you're not concerned with how hard you're going to throw it. With a fastball, people don't understand. You want to still hump it up there. You don't want to get beat with less than your good stuff. And that's the pitch he'll have more tendency to get his sight off just a little bit and try to grab that shoulder towards Mccann's right shoulder, which will just pull him out. Big pitch right here, 2-2.
His 100th of the night. Fly ball right. Hayward over toward the line. Runner will tag. And they're at the corners.
Good piece of hitting there. He was trying to front door the slider, which is a tough pitch to hit. You just got to get it in and make that front knee buckle just a little bit. But Joe, he just doesn't move on his front side, so it allows his hands to stay in close enough to be able to move that runner over. Good job hit.
Supremely confident hitter right now, Marlon Byrd. Doesn't matter what you throw him.
Left-handed hitting Tyler Colvin waiting next. You saw Eric O'Flaherty warming up, and Bobby Cox goes to the mound. This call to the bullpen brought to you by AT&T, a better 3G experience. Tommy Hansen's night is through after an even 100 pitches. Here comes O'Flaherty. All right, thanks, JJ. Back here in the top of the 6th. Bobby Cox has gone to the pen for Eric O'Flaherty, making his 2010 debut. after appearing in 78 games a season ago.
He had a good year, very good year, after the Braves really got him when Seattle let him go after so many injuries, especially with his back. But man, look at him. He came to camp in great shape. He's dropped a lot of pounds, making his debut for the year.
And he starts Colton off with a strike. This guy homered in the second. And truly one of those eye of the beholder stories with Tyler Colton. Fouled back. He was ranked 170 on Baseball America's list of prospects in 2006, yet the Cubs took him number 13. And they like what they saw there in the second. Really got a hold of one from Tommy Hansen.
I'd say their scouts knew a little bit more than that rating system, as it turns out.
Oh, Flaherty has him in an 0-2 hole. Runners on the corners. Oh. Where was it, Smoltzy?
I don't know. I got to get back in my chair.
It's one of the times you want that camera in the booth on John Smoltz, because this is taking him back a little bit.
That's a really good pitch.
That came from a lefty, so the angle of it's kind of cross-firing across that corner.
Fly ball center. Mclouth on the run. Will he tag at third? A bluff. And Gloss cuts off the throw.
In fairness, it isn't the most straight on camera that we're seeing. When pitchers charted, when we used to chart, I prefer doing it on TV, and so you always see it a little bit differently on TV. It always looks a little bit better. Certainly now we have the days and age of overhead cameras and this and that.
But you wanted that pitch.
Oh.
You're saying, I got to have that pitch.
Yeah, definitely.
Eric, last year, 30 of 38 inherited runners were stranded, right at 80%.
He's an out away from getting out of this jam with runners at first and third. Jeff Baker to right. Hayward on the run. You may now exhale.
Yes.
It remains 2-0 as the 20-year-old Jason Hayward chases it down. And we go to the bottom of the sixth. All right, the Braves dodge a bullet in the top half of the sixth. Game remains 2-0 as we go to the bottom half. And Omar Infante, who took over for Chipper Jones, who left with a sore side. This inning's pitch speed is brought to you by American Family Insurance. Visit amfam.com/family. That's amfam.com/family. The last one was 88 from Wells. Toward left, base hit.
Braves have a solid bench this year with a veteran presence with the likes of Eric Hinsky and Omar Infante. But last year there was a big hole on this club, John, when Infante suffered a broken hand. He's such a valuable part of the team.
I think that's how we got him too when he came over. He had the broken wrist maybe, but he can play so many positions and give Bobby so many options.
That's his first hit in his second at bat of the season. And here's Brian Mccann representing the tying run. We play in the bottom of the sixth. Cubbies on top 2-0.
Hey, the Cans are back.
The 1-0 from Wells to McCann on a line to left. But Colton made the play, and Infante's got to hustle back.
You talked last night, John, about Chipper Jones' IQ as a hitter and how he has almost a photographic memory of all of his at-bats against pitchers. Well, Brian Mccann is rapidly becoming one of those types of guys and makes adjustments within a game. Earlier tonight, Wells did a good job on him, striking him out with some good sinkers, running the ball away from him. Brian went up there with a thought in mind this time to have the plate covered, think about going the other way. He just hit it too good, really. All right at Colton.
Troy Gloss, who singled in the second, but with the bases loaded in the third, grounded into a 5-3 double play. Checked his swing. All on a strike. Kind of game you expect from Randy Wells tonight, John. This is, just one strikeout.
He's going to feed off of the hitter's aggressiveness to not either shoot him the other way. If you think you're going to pull him, you're going to get the ball on the ground, which a great percentage of his outs are on the ground. You can see the difference between the two pitchers. He pitches off of the first base side of the rubber because he wants that sink, he wants that angle, whereas Tommy pitches off the third base side of the rubber because he wants the angle against the right-handers with his slider and of course his fastball. So his sinker is very impressive tonight. It's come out of spring training and he hasn't missed a beat.
11 out of 16 outs, ground ball outs. Missed way upstairs with that one. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You saw action in the Cubbies bullpen, left and right side. Marshall and Caridad.
And one key double play when the Braves had their best threat going in the third.
Fly ball to right, near the line, and that's going to fall fair. Gloss will have to hold at first, but they're on the corners. He took a wide turn at first and then thought better of trying to stretch that into 2.
Smart decision, I think. I mean, anytime you hit a ball in the corner, you think you're going to have an automatic double. A good piece of hitting on a slider there that stayed up for him. But a nice play by Fukudome.
And the only time he's gotten in trouble tonight has been his slider's been flat. No one's really taken his good sinker and done anything with it. And those last 2 hits were on 2 flat sliders, more of a normal plane versus the sharp downhill approach of his 2-seam fastball.
So the Braves with something going here in the bottom of the 6th. First and third, 1 out.
And all you know Escobar should be thinking here is getting that guy in from third base. We're only in the 6th inning, and it's only a 2-0 deficit right now. Get that guy in from third. Worry about getting someone else in a little bit later.
Jason Hayward on deck. Escobar takes 1-0. For the 2nd straight night, solid start for a Chicago starter. Ryan Dempster last night, Randy Wells tonight. For the 2nd time tonight, he is in some trouble.
And he might be losing a little bit of his sharpness with that slider, John, because he's approaching 100 pitches.
He's at the 95 mark. There's the scene, 1st and 3rd. As Escobar grounds it foul. Brian Snitker.
See, and this is a perfect scenario where if Escobar doesn't go to where the sinker is and tries to pull it, this is where you can get that double play ball if you feed off the hitter's aggressiveness and you get a ball down in the zone. To Joe's point, anything to the right side is going to be hard to turn, yet and you might get a hit.
Big hole over there. Just realize, just keep in mind what the guy's been doing tonight to get outs. Where's he go for outs? How does he pitch you?
They're a double play depth at 2nd and short. This one too short. Is it a double play ball? Yes, it is. And another Braves rally thwarted by the double play. The shutout intact for Randy Wells. 6-4-3.
Take home a free 8-ounce glass bottle of Coke. Experience a thrilling 4D theater and taste beverages from around the world. Visit the world of Coca-Cola today.
Randy Wells has been the beneficiary of 3 double plays in this game, keeping the Braves at bay 2-0. And we move to the top half of the 7th. And the catcher, Coy Hill, turn around and hit right-handed against Eric O'Flaherty. First pitch, just the kind of hop you like. 1 down.
Be nice to have a real fast inning here. If Randy Wells is getting a little bit tired, you can have about a 7 or 8 pitch inning and get him right back out there. Might see a difference in him.
And if we've seen anything in these first 2 games, it's get to the Cubs bullpen and take your chances.
Well, he's due up here. Is he going to hit or not?
I'm saying no.
Well, you know Lou doesn't want to go to his bullpen.
Well, he's going to go to Alfonso Soriano. So like Ryan Dempster, a solid 6 innings. For Randy Wells. And Lou Piniella will go to the pen for 7, 8, and 9. And hope for better than he's got in the last 2 games. Soriano takes a strike from Eric O'Flaherty.
Great way to start the season for Randy Wells. Again, only had 1 strikeout, and that was in the first inning.
Another grounder to short. Escobar eats it up, 2 down.
I think he started his career with 18 scoreless innings, if I'm not mistaken.
It looks like Sean Marshall will be the next guy in, and he's pitched in each of the first 2 games and pitched effectively.
Well, I was wrong, Ernie. 18 1/3. Golly.
But you have a bear trap mind.
I'll tell you.
Quickly 2 down. Quickly 3 down.
That was 5 such innings.
Was that quick enough for you? We're fixing to stretch. It's 2-0.
She's interested in boys who can play the saxophone.
Tyler Perry's House of Pain, Friday at 8 on Peachtree TV.
Bottom half of the 7th. There's one of those Hayward jerseys. Does that look more like the one you bought, John?
Not really.
Okay. Sean Marshall has been a busy guy in this series. And to Joe, to your point, he has been effective. Struck out 7 of the 11 he's faced.
Yeah, Braves haven't sniffed a hit off this guy yet, and he is one guy that Luke can go to with confidence down there so far.
He will face Jason Hayward. Reached on a fielder's choice. Broke his bat as he tapped back to the pitcher in the 4th. He leads off in the 7th. Can't say the Braves haven't had their chances in this one. But boy, the double play ball has been huge for Chicago. 3 of them. One with the bases loaded, one with runners on the corners. Another tapper. This is a tough play. And they got him. Marshall got over there. And Lee hit him just in the nick of time.
Those are three pretty big guys gathering at first base. All over 6'5".
Looked like Marshall got his foot down just in time.
Hayward trying to influence Jim Wolf, giving the safe sign as he crosses the bag. One down. Here's Mclouth.
Come on, Nate.
Did it again.
I don't want to know.
I can't. I got to the 6th and blew it. My score book.
You know what? You got to the 5th last night, so you're making progress. Mclouth.
I mean, I missed a whole spot.
No, but see, when the inning ends on the other team, then you have to drop down to this team so that you don't combine the things. And see, folks, this is unacceptable. When you've got these dark scribbles and stuff, that's unacceptable for a professional scorecard.
As Mclouth flies to center to Marlon Byrd. Would you like to look at this one? This is complete with the highlighter and everything.
See, Ernie's got the book here with
I'm a little
color-coded.
I'm a little over the edge. I think.
He's color-coded, but he's got all the strikeouts highlighted and the runs highlighted, so he knows right where they are. John, on the other hand, see, we've just got some chicken scratches here with mistakes, and so he had to write it over here in another box. I think you're using like 2 or 3 boxes per hitter, and that's just not a good thing.
Is this a Buffalo and a Sun here? I see also. Oh, this is disturbing. It's very wrong. Got a lot of work to do. This call to the bullpen brought to you by AT&T, a better 3G experience. Lou Piniella going to the pen with 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Who pitched 2/3 of an inning, continued to handcuff the Braves. Caridad appeared last night.
Say that one more time. Say that name.
As Marlon Caridad.
That's 3 in a row.
He's good.
You are good.
You know what I did last night when I got home? I just sat in my room for like an hour and a half and just said it. As Marlon Caridad. As Marlon Caridad.
See, but he's always been right on top of all those European 3-point shooters. He's always had those.
Yeah, this is actually a piece of cake compared to some of those guys. Caridad faces Matt Diaz.
Better be ready to crank it up a notch on Caridad, and you can always count on Matt Diaz to do that. He'll go up there hacking.
Missed inside, a ball and a strike.
Matt's been very patient. He's said all the right things. He's doing all the right things with respect to Cabrera. Melky Cabrera starting the first 3 games of this series and of the season, and Matt said Bobby had a meeting with the outfielders and said we'll spread the at-bats around. And Matt said, I know Bobby well enough to know that he'll get us in there. I think the term he used was he uses all his players, and I know that.
When you hear the term players manager, and John, you were there for so long with Bobby Cox. Get into that in just a second. And that's the end of a quick 7th inning. Braves still trying to get on the board. They trail 2-0.
Built by the Home Depot, and tonight it comes from Alkesh. And his question is, how do you calculate a player's fielding average? And you do that by adding the sum of putouts and assists, and then divide it by the sum of putouts, assists, and errors. Did you get that, Ernie?
I normally just say, yeah, this guy can really field.
Yeah, pick it. Boys can pick it. Add up putouts and assists, then divide that by putouts, assists, and error. There you go. Fielding percentage. Here's Jesse Chavez.
For the first time this season. 73 appearances with the Pirates last year. Led all rookies, all rookie pitchers. Two balls and a strike.
Good live arm, but he had an up and down spring. Had a couple of really rough outings, then 3 good ones, then 3 bad ones. He said, I am not a spring training guy. I get off to slow starts.
Fukudome flies to center. Mclouth camps under it, 1 down. Back to the point on Bobby. As you play for him, how do you define he's a player's manager?
Well, a couple things. First and foremost, when things go awry or when there's things to talk about, he doesn't talk about them in the media. He talks to you personally. He doesn't air any laundry, and he takes the heat for a lot of things that you may be doing. And I think the biggest thing that I've seen over the years is he'll give the player confidence even when the player doesn't feel like he has confidence. He'll do little things like talk to him about, all right, just give me, hit me 300 this week. He'll break it down to where a player who has a lot of pride and might be in a slump doesn't feel like the people around him have confidence, but when your manager has confidence in you, it goes a long way, and you don't have to look over your shoulder and feel like, in this game, it is so much, what have you done for me lately? And the manager's job are always at first risk. Bobby's so content in who he is and what he does that he believes in the guys that he's got out there, and he's going to give them every chance to prove it.
And in turn, a player repays that loyalty by wanting to play hard for a manager like Bobby Cox. Skied in foul territory. Detroit loss.
Was there ever a time, John, where he scared you? I mean, check out some of the stuff he's done in his 24 years. Hall of Fame to be sure, but was there ever a time he called you in and scared you?
There was. Indirectly, he did. He made his point through Leo Mazzoni. I was having a tough 1991 first half, struggling a little bit. I was in a game that I thought I could stay in and continue to pitch and possibly win, and he came out, saw enough, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I guess I flipped him the ball. You know, it was not meant in disrespect, but it was the last time I ever flipped him the ball. I can promise you that. And that's what's great about him. You know, you could literally be in some guys' dog houses around the league and never get out of them. You're going to get out of his right away by just showing the fact that you made a mistake and not repeating it. I'll never forget he only had to show Andrew Jones one time and take him out one time, and it never happened again. And that's the kind of thing, and Bobby rarely does that.
So was his message relayed through Leo to you, or were you called to the principal's office and told, if you ever do that again?
No, it was done tactfully through Leo, because Leo got chewed out.
And Leo did it tactfully.
Yeah.
Called strike 3. Great inning for Chavez in his 2010 debut. We're going to the bottom of the 8th. Getting late, folks. We'll be back. Bottom of the 8th, when Chipper went deep, 2-run shot, and a 3-2 win. Braves are being shut out tonight, 2-0, and Chipper left earlier tonight with a sore right side, or sore side, and has been replaced by Omar Infante. Top of the order, Melky Cabrera leads it off against Caridad.
Here's a good example, 92, 93, and it looks like 100 to these hitters. Some guys have that knack for a nice, easy delivery, and all of a sudden the ball is quickly on the hitter, as you can see right there as he grounds out to short.
Terrio had to back up, but had plenty of time. 1 down.
He doesn't have the big leg kick, but a short arm action like Billy Wagner. Fans Braves single game tickets are on sale now at Braves.com. Secure the best seats in the house for upcoming series when the Braves take on the Rockies and their NL East rival, the Philadelphia Phillies. For the best price on single game tickets, visit Braves.com/tickets or call 1-800-745-3000.
Here's Martin Prado.
As a hitter, it's so hard to see those guys that I'll call it a short arm delivery because there's no real windmill action on the arm where you can follow the ball. Just coming out of their earlobe.
And there are guys that can tell you, hitters that can tell you based on the arm swing of a pitcher, what pitch he's throwing sometimes. They can pick that up. They can see it. And in this case, he's got such a, you can really only see a little part of the ball. The next thing you know, it's on you.
It is on you.
Ball and 2 strikes. Line drive, right field, base hit. This is a familiar script. If you look at last night, it was Prado who got the rally started. He doubled. Chipper homered. Tonight he singles here in the bottom of the 8th. And Omar Infante, hitting in Chipper's spot, is at the plate.
If you just joined us, it was a swing in this at bat right here that we think Chipper hurt his side. He got both hands on the bat. Maybe that big follow through is what caused it.
Pitchers are going to pay dearly if they don't get the ball down to Mr. Prado.
You said it last night, best high ball hitter on the team, perhaps. And now Caridad has to work out of the stretch. That might change things a little bit.
Fly ball left. Tyler Colton wraps it up. Drew down.
Certainly. Cubs have action in their bullpen, including John Graybo again, another lefty down there.
Which hand do you think he's going to go with? Oh, no. Too late.
Graybo's the guy who gave it up to Chipper Jones last night. He's being called on here to face Brian Mccann in a 2-0 game. We'll be back. The Cubs going to the bullpen again. John Graybo, the left-hander, to face Brian Mccann. This Sunday, our sister network TBS will bring you its first game of the season. The defending world champion Yankees taking on the Tampa Bay Rays from Tropicana Field. Coverage starts at 1:30 Eastern. Ryan Anderson and Buck Martinez will have the call. Yankees and Rays, great matchup on Sunday on TBS. Well, the fans are into it. Braves down 2-0. And the potential tying run coming to the plate in the person of Brian Mccann. 0 for 5 career against John Graybo. A ball and no strikes.
Different at bat here for Mac compared to the last time up there when he was trying to make his own adjustment against Wells. Different in that with the game on the line especially, he's looking for something he might be able to drive out of here.
John, how about where Grabo, how he uses the rubber? He's way over to one side.
Yeah, and it might just be a comfort thing for him. You know, you feel like at that side with lefty to lefty, you lose a little bit of the angle. You got to throw the slider a little bit more at the hitter to get the outside break. And I was just always a big fan that if you're going to have that kind of pitch, you want to have the angle on the other side of the rubber. But he's done well, probably been there most of his career.
2-1. 3 balls and a strike.
Just missing, but everything's been away. Trying to negate Brian's power.
Troy Gloss waits on deck. First and second, 1 out in a 2-0 game.
He was only in there for 1 batter.
So the lefty, he walks Mccann. And for the first time this season, Lou Piniella will go to Carlos Marlon. The drama builds here in the bottom of the 8th in a 2-0 game.
Gene Hackman, Keanu Reeves, The Replacements. Saturday at 8 on Peachtree TV.
Brooks Conrad, pinch running at first for Brian Mccann. Martin Prado at second. Carlos Marmol on the mound now for the Chicago Cubs. He was 11 for his last 11 in save opportunities last year after taking over the closing duties.
He had a few opportunities filling in for Kevin Gregg earlier in the year where he picked up 4 saves, but then when he was handed the job as the closer, as you said, Ernie, he was perfect.
The problem with him is he is prone to the base on balls, so we'll see how he responds in his first appearance of the year. And he faces Troy Gloss.
I've always thought that if you're going to be a closer, you got to be a guy who throws strikes. You have to, because of situations like this. 65 walks in 74 innings last year for Marmol. Make him throw you a good pitch.
And what makes him good, but at the same time a little bit wild, is that arm angle that he comes out. It seems like arms, legs everywhere, and he can drop that arm angle a little bit to throw a slider. And he's got a good enough fastball. He needs to trust that as well. But his money pitch is going to be that slider. It is nasty, but if a hitter has discipline to get him to work the count, you might be able to see a fastball, something that you can drive.
Gloss has had a couple of hits. Also grounded into a bases loaded double play to end the 3rd inning. Braves trying to break through here in the 8th, down 2-0. Gloss in a good position here, ahead in the count 2-0 with 2 on.
As you can see, 96 miles an hour. Might have been a little bit low for Troy Gloss's liking. But that pitch right there has to be a weapon, and it's almost like a show pitch because he loves his slider, and you know, to the degree that's going to be his out pitch slider. His fastball's pretty darn good.
The 2-1. Count even at 2-2.
From Troy's standpoint, though, getting ahead 2-0, he's sitting on something middle of the plate in. He's got to be.
Right.
So when he painted that outside corner, okay, may not have even been a strike, but he's close enough for the umpire. Can't be upset about that because you weren't going to swing at that pitch anyway.
Now, he could fool the world throwing a fastball, but I'm going to say he's throwing a slider.
Grounded to third. And again, Braves with a runner in scoring position and cannot advance him. And a frustrated Troy Gloss and the Braves still down 2-0.
The game. Get ready for ice cold bliss with the new Zaxby's milkshakes. Bases loaded, 1 out in the third. Heads up play by Aramis Ramirez to go third to first on the double play. And then with runners at first and third in the 5th inning, or excuse me, the 6th inning, Randy Wells gets out of the inning thanks to a nifty 6-4-3 double play. He pitched great tonight, and the double play is certainly a big factor in that. The indescribably good plays of the game from Zaxby's.
Top half of the 9th, Jesse Chavez remains on the hill for the Braves and faces Marlon Byrd, responsible for one of the 2 Chicago runs with a deep home run to left in the 4th. David Ross comes on to catch now after Brian Mccann was run for in the bottom of the 8th. Back to the screen. Ball and 2 strikes. Byrd was on that. So the Atlanta bullpen again getting the job done tonight. The 2 runs in this game, both coming off starter Tommy Hanson, both on solo home runs. Ball hit pretty well to right, but it's no problem for Hayward. 1 down.
I gave up. You guys embarrassed me on national TV, so why continue? I gave up. I just didn't fill out the last 2. I didn't fill out the last 2.
Your problem is when the game gets like kind of exciting and you're really into it, you're not able to multitask there. You're just putting all your writing materials down. And
yeah, but see, in a way, I agree with you, Ernie. It's like he's been charting when the game really there wasn't anything on the line. The game got on the line, you know.
Yeah.
He put his bic down and
nice play by Gloss at first. Cross to Chavez, and Colton is retired for the second out.
I know this is the first time you've had a chance to see Jesse Chavez. What do you think? So far, so good.
Yeah, he's has a firmer fastball than I would have thought, and he complements it with a good off-speed pitch. And seeing what a secondary and third pitch is, slider or curveball. So far, so good.
Well, you darn near came up with a brand new term there,
which was actually a dairy.
Secondary and third dairy.
Yeah,
Guernsey.
Yeah, you guys got me off my game now. I'm drawing animals, pictures.
Do not even bring a score card
I'm not
next
into
time.
it anymore.
Third dairy.
There's going to be an over/under on what inning I can get through.
Oh my! It's been fun being with you guys for a couple of nights. I got to go in the NBA bunker here till mid-June after this game, so I am really going to miss hanging out with y'all.
Well done.
I'll say 1, 2, 3 in the ninth. Got to go get them, Braves. We're heading to the bottom of the ninth. Better 3G experience. Well, let's see what the bottom of the ninth has in store. This is the first time the Braves have experienced this season.
Joe, I know you're getting ready to go to San Francisco. I don't know, Ernie, if you know this, but you know why San Francisco is one of the coldest stadiums in the National League?
Do tell.
Well, there's a giant fan in every seat.
Thanks for being alive in the truck, boys.
Yeah. Jim Budka with the rim shot there. That was nice. Thank you.
Oh. He'll be here all week. Tip your waitresses.
Just need a base runner here. Get a base runner on, put some pressure on the defense.
Carlos Marmol bidding for a 4-out save. And the first Chicago win of the year.
Bobby's gone to his rally seat.
Into right center. It'll fall. Escobar will think better of it and scamper back to first.
Smart. Probably had a double, but his run doesn't mean anything. He's aboard, and that gets it started. And a great piece of hitting there, fighting one off inside. especially when you know he was sitting on the slider, knowing he had to have the plate covered to fight that off. It was good hitting. And smart heads-up base running.
And as you would figure, Jason Hayward would have an at-bat in the bottom of the ninth. Cool, 0-1.
That right there is a perfect example. You know what Jason's going to face now. He's going to want to be aggressive, and he's going to face some pitchers that are going to test his patience to see if he can see a pitch or two from somebody obviously he's never seen. And he came out swinging.
0-2.
And they're throwing that back foot slider, dropping that down in there under his hands. Makes it very hard to get the barrel of the bat to it, especially when it's thrown that hard.
Three pitches to the rookie. And down he goes. One away.
And the hardest thing to do, it happens all the time, is to know that you could have stood up there and seen a strike, and it could have been 3-0. And the first pitch set up the next two pitches. This wasn't a strike, but he wanted to try and attack something. And then, as any pitcher's going to know, you just stay there, and he did it beautifully.
Yeah, I'm not sure any of them were strikes.
Here's Nate Mclouth. It's all part of the learning curve for 20-year-old Jason Hayward.
Absolutely.
Every at-bat, every ball game. Mclouth has fared well. 5 out of 7 with 2 home runs against Carlos Marmol.
We've got a good one to hit there. Looking for something else.
Left-handed hitting Eric Hinsky waits on deck. Mclouth checked his swing. And Jim Joyce said he did not go.
Right here, he can throw any pitch he wants because he's got him on the defense of approach. And this is the situation you want to get. He can go right back to that same pitch and see what happens.
Nice stop by Coy Hill. He's starting that slider right at the inside corner of the plate. He's not even trying to throw it for a strike, for a called strike.
And that's my point, Joe. He rarely will ever throw it for a strike. It's going to be a mistake. The type of slider that he has is so sharp and so quick, he doesn't want to throw it for a strike.
Runners are at first and second.
This is the part where people, because a guy has dominant stuff, don't understand the mental part of the game. Getting the last 3 outs every single time is difficult. Getting any 3 outs might be a little bit easier, but getting the last 3 outs every single time, your team's counting on you, and then you got situations where a fastball is 96 miles an hour, you could say sometimes just sit there and pump until somebody creates a problem. And he'll create more problems for himself until he realizes you get that lead runner, you do these things, they're afraid of you. And he's creating a little more doubt. And as the year goes on, you know, he settles into the role. Look for him to just gain more confidence as the season.
That he doesn't need to trick anybody.
Correct. Here's Hinsky, who tripled as a pinch hitter on Monday and drove in a run. He bats with runners at first and second in a 2-0 game. 1 down here in the ninth.
Veteran pinch hitter looking for a pitch in a small area. Marmol struggling with his command and hasn't offered it either one of the first 2 pitches, and he's got a count in his favor now where he might get a better pitch.
We talked about the problem with walks with Marmol. 2 are on. Hinsky has never faced him. driven straight away center field. Byrd is back, makes the play.
Oh, baby.
Escobar tagged. Mclouth remains at first.
Thought he got it.
He hit it on the screws.
Had to just reach for it just enough to take some of the sting out of it.
And what you're hoping here, if you're a Braves fan, somehow, some way, ball in the dirt, this tying run can get on second base. And maybe Milky could just find a way to get a hit and tie this baseball game up.
He's 1 out of 12 on the season. Walked in the fifth. Erased on a double play ball. A ball and a strike.
Got good speed at first base. A gapper might score an 8.
The Cubs are a strike away. Cubs and Braves fans alike on their feet at the 10. The 1-2 to Cabrera. Strike 3 called. Chicago wins 2-0. So Lou Pinella's club avoids a 3-game sweep to start the season by shutting out the Braves 2-0. Carlos Marmol with that 4-out save in his first appearance of the year. And for Bobby Cox and the Braves, it's on to San Francisco for the first road trip of the season.